we'll start with basic definitions, right? So what is AI? I've heard a lot of people like this is magic, and AI is really a probability machine. It is just math. Its job is to predict what you're asking for. So these companies that Emmanuel was talking about, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of them, training these models. So when you hear the term an LLM, that's a large language model that they've invested a lot of money to train these things. What they've done is they've scoured the entire internet, almost every novel that's out there. It's consumed all this information and it's stored it way that when you ask the question through the web application like ChatGPT, it's making a connection to that data that it's learned over time. So it is a probability machine. So you'll hear things like hallucinations and stuff like that. Like when you're going into ChatGPT and you're asking a question, it's search. I don't want to get too much into the technicals, but it's doing a very search on what your question was and giving you the most probabilistic answer to your question. Any questions on that? All right, so what AI is not. So human beings have some very unique capabilities. We are good at emotional intelligence, right? EQ. AI is not emotional intelligence. So I know there are people that are leveraging results. I have question marks ethically about how some people are using these, but it's not a replacement for human beings. This is a support function to a human being. As we shift our roles and our jobs, this is going to be a utility, a tool. Just like the internet is a utility and a tool, AI is the same thing. It's a utility and a tool that a human being will use to get the job done and get our jobs done much faster. AI is not for techies, right? I think there's this perception out there that you have to be technical. AI is going to affect everyone's jobs. If you're medical, you're in healthcare, you're a business owner, you're going to be using this utility. You'll hear some terms like vibe coding and low code or no code. So previously, to make an application, you had to have like a computer science degree. And now you have the ability to go and prove your concept very quickly without having to spend lots of money because of the access to information. These are business users that are doing not super technical. AI is not always right? So there's a term called hallucinations. Your job as a human that's using this tool or utility is to validate and verify everything that's coming out. There are companies and people that trust it to be fully autonomous, and that's great for them. I'm not there. I want verification. I want to check and balance to make sure that before I send a deliverable to my client, I've got a human being in the loop. So you'll hear a term called human in the loop. So that's an important concept for any system that you're building in your company to make sure you've got a person in that workflow check. Want to add anything to that? Hallucinations? No, that's that. The fourth thing, AI is not coming for your jobs. Okay, I know the media is scaring people right now. I know there's lots of layoffs that have been happening in tech companies. I think it's for multiple reasons. I think AI is one of them. I think these companies over leverage themselves and they're using AI, getting a black eye. Yes, people have lost jobs, but if I was a healthcare technician and that's all I did, and someone else is a healthcare technician, and they started using AI in their jobs, the company's probably going to want to use the healthcare technician that's using AI in the jobs. So our job is to make sure that we're not replaceable. We learn the skill, we pivot, and we change with this industry. If you want to continue to be a CPA managing QuickBooks the way you've managed it for the past 20 years, you're probably going to be out of work in 3 years from now because you're going to have AI agents that will be balancing people's books every month and sorting invoices and receipts. So I think it's our role to figure out what do I do today that's going to change in the future, and how do I get the skills to make sure I'm not replaced. So some of the common tools we talked about, the chat AI, right? Chat GPT, using it for research, using it for learning stuff, image generation. So there's tools like Midjourney, Gemini's got Nano Banana that you can make. I know my 5-year-old loves it. He loves making pictures, and I think he's going to get me into some privacy trouble because he's like, make me a squishy jumping on trampoline, a Spider-Man t-shirt. And then ChatGPT's like, I can't make a Spider-Man t-shirt. There's a trademark logo. But I think you'll see more adoption across different user groups. So you still video and voice. So if we got time, I want to show you guys the tool where you could clone yourself and make an AI avatar of yourself. Or you can make an AI avatar that works for you in your company and does your social media videos for you that you can do posting. And then you'll hear another term called automation. So automation and AI, they're different, right? So automation was started a long time ago. A lot of you that are in technology may be familiar with the word RPA, right? Robotic process automation. So automation was dumb, didn't have a brain. You have to tell it, here's my 10 steps I need you to do in this order. And it went and just executed those. Now, when you pair this dumb automation with a brain, it becomes a superpower tool, right? So we'll show you an example today of what that looks like using an automated workflow with an LLM, ChatGPT. All right, what is an AI agent? So we want to tackle this one, business user side?
Sure. An AI agent really is an AI that you talk to, like on ChatGPT, and gives answers. In that same way that it's giving you a detailed answer, it can use tools and say, if you give it to this agent and say, you give it the tool of your Google Drive, and you give it the tool of your email, and you give it the tool of your calendar, and you say, well, look at my upcoming meetings, find any, find the PDF for the meeting, and then from Google Drive, and then email out to my team like all the PDFs that I got from the last meeting that I was in, that I saved to Google Drive. Like, you can do that all in one step, and it doesn't matter how you organize the files. You don't have to tell it exactly this folder. It looks through your Google Drive, it finds the documents, it reads through the documents, figures out which ones are relevant to which meeting it was, and then it figures out from your email like who are the people on your team, and then it sends it out. And you can, so like something like that might take 15, 20 minutes. You just tell it, and it goes off, and then it comes back the report. I send it to Frank and Steve and John and Wembe and all the people on the team, and you send it out.
So there's also, I don't know, has anyone heard of OpenClaw? Okay, the tech guys in the room heard of OpenClaw. So it is a new technology that came out this year, and it went pretty viral because it was basically a separate machine that people were setting up, and you give it a goal, and it goes and executes this goal for you. So a goal could be like, I want to start a plumbing business in Cary, North Carolina. Set up the business phone. That's all you tell it. And then you go to bed, and this thing is working all night. It's doing research for you. It's got agents and sub-agents working under it. And they're figuring out enough to set up the business. So when you wake up in the morning, it'll send you a report and says, I did all this research, found all the competitors that have plumbing businesses. I've set up a request, I've submitted applications for your LLC. I sent a request, I sent an application for your EIN number, sent a request for a checking account information for you, set up your legal documentation for you. So that's the power of this fully agentic world that we're going to. A lot of people got into a lot of trouble with this thing because it was fully autonomous and it was spending money on tokens. So you wake up in the morning and it's like, I've just spent $10,000 at night. So you got to be very careful with it. So I think we're in this experimentation phase, but it's pushing us towards this AGI world that will be coming. That's all.
Question. So that's $10,000 you have to pay, or
Yeah, so when you give access to an AI agent, you're giving it access to tools, as Manuel said, right? So one of the tools you give it access to is like ChatGPT or Anthropic Claude. So it's got an LLM to go do the research. And those LLMs cost money. So there's token costs, right? And you give it what's called in IT world like an API connection, which is basically a way for it to talk to your LLM. And you basically given your credit card to this thing, and it's going and building the company based on the goal that you asked it to do. So you have to have a lot of guardrails in place for this. I met a guy, he's at Google, and he was on a panel, and he's using an agent to manage his wife's QuickBooks account. So he's giving OpenClaw full access to a financial system and bank accounts. And I asked him, I was like, yeah, the the technical guy gets it. I was like, are you insane? like you're giving this thing access to your bank account, but he's put enough guardrails in place. He had a justification for why he's doing it. But I think it's going to be normal in 5 years. Right now, it feels very strange to be giving it, but I think it's going to be normal.
And one thing you can do is tell it to do all the research and then come up with a plan and then wait for you to approve. It goes off and does these. So it doesn't send the email, it drafts the email and it's waiting for you to read it and approve. That's another pattern so that people don't like. You know, I thought this would be really good for your plumbing businesses to get a truck. So I went to Chevy and I bought you a new Silverado and, you know, like I bought you $20,000 worth of plumbing tools, you know, like, and you're like, I've never even turned a wrench. I was just curious to see about what it would do. So but again, it's all of these things are the same way if you just had like a young cousin, right? And you're like, he really wants to work for his uncle. And you know, or his cousin, the other nephew, right? He really wants to work for his uncle, and he really wants to impress you, and he wants to go off and do a bunch of things, right? And you're like, oh, be careful, you know. I'm glad you're enthusiastic, but just tell me the plan first, and then we can go do it. But most people just want to say, just go off and do this, and then you know, I'm going to put my feet up and be on vacation, and then come back to just money, right? It will do a plan. Is that the best plan? It might do a good plan, but isn't that the plan that you had in mind? And that's more of a management skill and not so much of the AI skills, you know. But again, these AIs are so powerful, so intelligent that it's like managing a person. Like, how would you tell a person to like, here's how much you can do, here's how much, you know, you can spend $100, but you can't spend any more than that. Any more than that, you need approval from.
So I am starting to see companies treating these AI agents as employees. So I have a client, private equity firm, they own self-storage facilities and they're very tech forward. And they hire AI agents, and for the cybersecurity guy, they're provisioning access for these agents like they are employees. So that you've got proper controls in place on monitoring what this thing has access to, because you don't want to give it full carte blanche. It's like using AD. You know what you're giving access to, and when you don't need this agent, you can deprovision that access as well. So it is becoming a normal thing. Yes, sir.
Yes. Just in line with what he was explaining. Yesterday, I received an email requesting for an appointment. By the time I opened the email in the afternoon, there was a response drafted for me. I didn't do the drafting, the AI did the drafting, and I have not given it access to I've not set up anything to my Gmail. But a whole draft was written neatly the way I would draft it. And with the same kind of thoughts, except that I had to maybe make one or two additions. I eventually adapted that particular response as my response, but I just added one or two things. So just to say that I'm like, I have not set up an agent, except the fact that maybe the Android phone, I don't know if this thing is already configured to work behind without our
Systems,
consent.
Gmail.
Yeah,
So it's
Yes,
probably Google,
Yeah.
Gemini. That's
Google's building all of these things into all of their tools. So can I draft this email? Can I send this text message? Google even has one where it will sit on hold for you. And then when the person comes back to you that's on hold, they'll say, "Oh, I'm Emmanuel's assistant. Let me grab him. He'll be here on the phone short." And so you can just go out, and then your phone starts ringing, and you just put the phone down, and it's like you pick it up, and it's like, "Oh, hey, this is Emmanuel." The person's already there, ready and waiting for you. You could be doing something else. So there's all of these. Google's trying to just build it into all of their products. So like Microsoft is doing similar things. Like all of the big companies, they're building all of these little agents everywhere. It's just it's going to be it's like it's going to be like the internet, right? You no longer do you have to say I have a website on the internet and explain what the internet is, right? It's like AI agents are just going to be like email, like young people like this, they're just going to grow up with it. Yeah, like right?
don't go any other way.
Yeah.
It's like talk to my agent. Yes.
sorry.
Yes, please.
Now, another thing is about security. I don't know to what extent because I remember was trying to do something because my wife, he always would be like, "Oh, be careful with these online platforms." I was trying to draft a resume. The site requested that it was said to be free. So I put in all my information. And after doing that, it now gave me a prompt I needed to pay. So I was like, it was said to be free. But after giving my information, I still was like, it puts out your correct information, which highlights the concerns on security. Now, way back in South Africa, for example, South Africans are very skeptical on anything that has to do with putting out any information. Like now, like I talked about my experience yesterday, AI writing email in response to an email that came into my box without my consent. Well, I saw it was good with Dr. But now, what about the security? If, as well as it is that we are looking forward to adopting this,
Right.
What do we do with regards to security?
Yeah, I think
As
so.
a public?
Leaders in organizations, CIOs, CTOs, I would hate to be in that position right now because there's no way that they can fully control what every business unit in the organization is doing. But they cannot say no. They have to help and be an enabler to the organizations. So I do think we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot of bad things happen before we figure out all of the gaps, right? Threat actors in cybersecurity world, they have access to these same tools. So their phishing emails are going to get way stronger now, right? So before you could catch them, you could see misspellings and stuff on emails, and you're like, oh, this is a fake. Now they look real. And they've got access to the same tool. So I think it's always been this cybersecurity, this defense. Threat actors come out. We got to figure out what they're doing. I think that'll continue, and it'll get more rampant in organizations. In terms of like your data as well, I think companies have to figure out how to do it securely. How do I get a localized version of an LLM if you're doing things like PHI? I know highly regulated spaces, healthcare and finance, you have to be extremely careful. We work with clients that can't go outside of the Microsoft ecosystem because of that, right? So Microsoft, they want to deploy it in their environment. They're not training Microsoft's models or OpenAI's public LLMs. It's contained to your version. Want to add something? I need a security guy.
Yeah, you said it head on. One thing is that you gotta make sure that you're educated yourself, keep updated on what's going on. Because for the normal users, everyone in this room, battle we fight AI, you said it's so vast, seeing billions of dollars being traded, the data exfiltration. We have jobs because of this, but a lot of the it's a never ending battle that my team fights every day. And it's overwhelming. What we have to do is we're trying to adapt as fast as we can to employ AI to go in, help us to make sure that we're, because you said the cardinal about threat actors they're adjusting. So I would be extremely careful what you're looking at, what you're doing, what you're allowing. Make sure you do your research before you allow anything, because even on your Apple, with your Android phones, taking control of your cameras, taking control of your applications, it's real. And now they can't go after big business. As Ricardo said, phishing emails, things that you see are going to become real. And if you allow AI agents on your phone have access, then it's what they want. So think pointing that out.
Yeah, no, I think they're gonna figure out also, if I've got AI agents working for me, it's how do I trip up your AI agent, right? So if your AI agent is managing your mailbox and you get a threat actor knowing that you have an AI agent, it'll try and get your AI agent to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want you to perform this task. I got approval from Ricardo. He said, go ahead and wire $1,000 to me, right? So I think that's gonna be unfortunately the world that we live in. Leaders of these organizations will have to be proactive. So one of the things we started doing was a scan on their networks. So some CIOs and CTOs did not know all of the instances of LLMs that were installed throughout the company. And so we did a scan and we're like, you have 78 infractions here where people are putting out personal information, PII information. Did you know that? And sometimes it was like, I didn't even know they were using this tool. So yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking, Daniel.
Long term, they're probably going to look like your own agents are going to be helping you to protect yourself from other agents. So you might not be as diligent, you might not know all of the details about what a phishing email is and all of that stuff. You might have an agent that reads through your emails and says, hey, this one doesn't look fishy, or it does the research and it goes to the domain name of the person who sent you the email. Is this a real domain? Is this like a real legit business? Like, right? And it does all of that on your behalf. And then it tells you the report, like, don't trust this. This is a scam, or this is kind of a legit business, but like what they're really going to do is going to ask you for money after your information, right? So it's a little bit in the future because Microsoft, Google, all of those they're building all of these agents and all of this intelligence into your phone, into your email, into all of this. And eventually we're going to get there. The other thing I will say is that when you're, if you have questions, one of the things you can do is you can use like copy and paste into an LLM and say, is this even legit? Right? Like you can do that manually today. And it is a world-class sophisticated at understanding like the internet, security, and all the little signs of like this is a scam or not. It can itself as even ChatGPT online has a way of going to a website and then reading the website and seeing like, okay, and they can follow that thread and see, okay, this is, and it'll tell you in plain English, like, this is probably not good, or this is probably okay, or this is really okay because this is an official Google like property. So you're probably safe because it's backed by $1 billion company. They don't want to be sued by people getting your information.
Sorry. So what about the bad actors using AI?
Yeah, they're using it. Trust me, they're the first ones on it.
I had guardrails that the companies actually build into the system, or it's just free rate.
So there's open source models that you can run and deploy locally on the machine without touching the internet. So you could get the Chinese model, DeepSeek, I'm just picking on it for now. You can load it on your machine and it is pretty intelligent. It can do a lot of stuff without having any trace on the internet. So they could build a very malicious software code locally and figure out how to deploy it without anyone.
Even Google in Chrome this week, this just came out. I read this last night. They're starting to roll out a tiny little model that's in Chrome for everyone, and they're using that as a local, like the term is large language model, like LLM. If you ever hear that, it's the same thing. It's an AI model, and they're using that to run it locally. So that you're not putting so much strain on their centralized server. So it's just on your machine. And yeah, that's an evolving area, but eventually, like, we'll be able to just run it on your boat.
Are you asking like what threat actors have access to?
Yes, yeah.
So what they can do is they have some dark web. Think of it as hell that you place where you can get anything which can go on material, child pornography, you know, AI models that are being made right now, or threat. Want to encrypt data of those major networks. So everything you think of, they have a tool out there for it, and it's processed, they can run offline, especially for whoever they want. And the most important thing you have to look for is access efficient and take it into your network once they get your credentials. They employees do, you would never know, and then it'll come forward to them. And so if you're which makes it hard for us to maintain. So what they're trying to do, we're that on the trail, is confiscate their ability to help and see that they're there. So they different needs to hide, different IP. They'll hide with your phone address. So they're and they are smart. It's a really not good. Oh yeah. Victor, sorry, did you have something?
Yeah, I want to say that is it safe to say that everybody should have like cybersecurity subscription on their phones, on their computers, just to be safe from like, this AI world?
I think the best prevention I have is, and I train my team, like you have to be very conscious of what you're clicking. So when you get text messages with links in them, I do not click on any links. If someone's sending me a text message and you want me to go somewhere, most likely I'm not going to link because they could hack into my friend's phone and send a malicious link from their phone to me as a text message. So I think it's just be aware. It's not to fear the world that we live in. It's just be aware of what's happening around you. Make sure you're reading like who the email's coming from. Don't put financial information into sites that you don't know, you don't trust. There's a whole like, I think cybersecurity awareness. It's good to do that. I would highly recommend everyone just to like. There's tons of materials online. You have any you want to share with the group as well?
I can give it to you.
So, yeah,
sure,
absolutely. Yeah.
You said best thing, Ricardo, awareness. That's it. Just take a step back, think where you're at. That's the most important thing that you can do to your organizations, you can do to your personal business. Because for me, the worst thing is when one of our employees, someone just doesn't think about what they're doing and causes an issue that's going to cause time. I have a job to cause of it, but we can do more important proactive things than that. 90% of what we find is because of lack of awareness.
Yeah. Good question. Yes.
There's still concerns about weakness out there. For instance, we use free software, PDF to black out information you don't want, rather than having like an Adobe solution like locally on your laptop. And at the end of the day, I'm asking myself, if I set this free software and it's block this out, or what happened to the original information that I was up there? If the information I wanted to black out, who has access to it? So, yeah, those.
That's a very good question. I think you should be asking yourself that when you're using third-party tools like that, right? Who owns this? Where is your information going and what are they doing with that? So I would, for sensitive information, I would probably use the more reputable company like Adobe maybe.
One other thing I also say, and I feel like I'm the one that's always championing the AI agents here, is that when you have AI agents or Claude desktop, right? And there's this thing called co-work. It's a feature inside. You can give it your resume. You can give it a PDF and say, I want to black out these things. And because Claude is a reputable company and this AI agent can do many different things, it can download the right tools on your behalf. Like someone like a Ricardo or I we're experts. We know all of the different free tools that are open source that are actually safe to use, the ones that don't, send your information to China and do all of that stuff, right? It can figure all of that stuff out and give you a solution. So you don't need to go to some dodgy free website like why is it like what are they doing with my PDF, right? You can do it locally on your machine. And you can trust it because it's they're a high quality $1 billion company. But again, you have to pay $20 a month, right? Like just be the bigger thing is like always don't trust anyone trying to give you something for free. If it's a real valuable thing, why are they giving it to you for free? Like, they must be getting something.
All right. So any other questions before we move to the next? These are all great. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Any other questions? All right. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time showing you some automation tools. So we'll do a little bit of building here. And this first use case, we're gonna pick on Victor's business. And I think this probably applies to Olu as well. So you've got clients that are searching for homes, right? They go to your website. So I'm gonna pull up Victor's website here. So this is Victor's website. And he's got that same couple, they're drinking their coffee. It's almost midnight. They're searching for homes frantically. They've sent out emails to lots of agents. Again, I'm making this up. I'm not a realtor. I don't know how people buy houses, but they're sending emails to Victor and close to midnight, right? And Victor, they go to his website and they're like, okay, here's Victor. I want to send in a request. They're probably doing this with other realtors as well. And Victor goes to bed early. He's in bed by 9 o'clock. And he's got this, sorry, I don't know. He's got these emails coming in, and he's got other agents that are also getting the requests from these individuals for homes. And they're responding faster to those people. Who are they gonna more likely go with? Right? They're just gonna wake up in the morning, and they probably got 2 or 3 emails from other agents already, where they want to move to Cary because they have Raleigh or Durham from out of state. So they need to meet with someone. They want to see houses. So one of the tools I want to show you guys is how we can create a simple agent to take that lead request and respond to the person while Victor is sleeping at night. And it's working on his behalf to try and set up an appointment with that client. So let me show you guys a little bit of a form. So I know on your website, you don't have a chat function, right? Chat with me. Okay. So there's multiple ways we can get the information from this client. For purposes of this demo, because I did it very quickly this morning, I didn't have time to build the whole thing out, but I just have a Microsoft form, right? Where I'm going to have the person that's looking for a house go to a form, and we'll just start filling out information here. So this is Sarah Rogers. And I'm going to use my email address because I built it to send me a response. And I use this very generic form that gave me way too many fields for this demo. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. They've got a pre-approval, say 10% down payment, the monthly payment comfort level, Cary and C, Durham, C, and commute not longer than 30 minutes. They want urban feel. I'll just put NA for areas to avoid. They're looking for a house. They want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,000 square foot, garage, yes. Must have, I'll say walk-in closets. Nice to have is a pool. I don't think I have a pool here for $400. Probably not. Deal breakers, have to have a garage. 5 people in the family. I work from home sometimes. In a long-term home, move-in ready, architectural style, we'll just say modern, and house with some character. For my move-in date, June 30th. And I'm just gonna put NA on these. School districts, yes. And I'm gonna submit that form request. So essentially what I'm simulating, I know it probably won't take that long from the website, but you could have a chat bot, an AI chat bot, talking to the person that's grabbing this information and then sending it to your AI agent to do the research and homework, and all that stuff. So let me go back to my PowerPoint and talk about what I told this thing to do. So I told this, yes, okay, so this is basically what we're gonna demo. So this is the form we just filled out. AI in the back end is gonna read that form. We're gonna put it in a database. So most applications have a database, that's where you store your information. For this specific example, it's an Excel sheet or Google Sheet. And then it's gonna send an email reply to the person. This is the prompt I gave the sage. I said, you are Victor's friendly assistant. You write warm, concise emails to potential home buyers in the Cary NC area. Read the leads request, match listings, write 4-sentence emails that greets them by name, acknowledges what they want, mentions 2 of the best matched homes, and ends with a weekend invite, right? Because you want to spur a lead generation, like, come on, I'll meet you Saturday, Sunday. Make it professional but warm and sign off as Victor. All right, so let's jump back in to see what this thing is doing here. So refresh, am I connected to the internet? There we go. This is my database here, right? Excel sheet. So the form populated this tool. Now I'm going to go into, this is make.com. This is what you call a workflow orchestration tool. There's many workflow orchestration. Probably heard of things like Zapier, N8N, Microsoft stuff, their own version, Power Automate. So you can pick your flavor. I'm showing you this. I have the most experience because I'm an implementation partner at make.com. It's got a nice, easy graphical interface. So basically what this thing is doing, it's taking that record from my database, from the form that they filled out, it's sending it to OpenAI. So you could plug and play any LLM there in make.com. It's an orchestration tool. So if I want to use Claude, Gemini, and I've got a subscription, I put in what's called an API key. So when you buy license to these tools, it gives you an API key, plug it in here, giving this workflow a brain now. And then it's parsing, technical term, just making sense of the information that it's receiving. And then it's sending out 2 emails. Sending 1 email to the, and sending 1 email to Victor. So I'm going to run the scenario manually for us. And it should hopefully internet work on. My LLM's doing something. All right, and it sent off the 2 emails. So if I go to my mailbox, there we go. There's my 2 emails that I just received. So this is the first email. So while Victor is sleeping, he just got to leave. And it basically told him, Sarah Rogers, she has a budget, 450, 500, 550, preferred location, the house specs, and then 2 suggested properties. So it's not pulling the suggested properties because I didn't have time to hook up to MLS or Zillow, but that's essentially what I would do next with the scenario. I would take this workflow and hook it up to Redfin or Zillow and have it go do the research to find the match using my AI brain. And then it sends the email to the client. It says, hi, Sarah Rogers, thank you so much for reaching out. So remember, I told it the prompt, I want you to be warm and friendly. It's exciting to help you find your perfect home in Cary. I've already looked through the current listings and here are 2 locations. I don't have a match. It's not hooked up to anything just yet, but it can go do a search on the MLS. So there's APIs with all this information for different houses. And then warm, friendly ends. I would love to walk you through both of these this weekend. Does Saturday or Sunday work better for you? Just reply to this email. I'll send it up. convicted. So this is a very simplified way of a real estate agent question.
That's pretty much lead generation. You know, everything wrapped up in one, and you have your sales funnel right there for you.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So let's take a look what's happening in here. So I want to demystify a little bit of behind the scenes, right? So you'll see a lot of like labels and boxes and all that stuff. But AI, the language that works with AI is prompts, right? So you hear a term called prompt engineering. So there's a whole science, and you can get very deep into prompt engineering. But basically, it's the way you give instructions to your LLM. So I took from that PowerPoint slide those instructions, and you can see right here, you are a real estate agent, estate location assistant. So I'm giving it direction on what to do. So in the past, to build this type of stuff, you need a developer, right? Developer is going to code every field for you, and you're going to get a big invoice of $20,000 or more, right, to build this. Did this, not a developer, but I know how to configure these tools. So you guys can do the same as well. All it is investing in learning, reading, watching videos. I didn't go to AI school. I had no AI certifications. I'm just a curious person that's trying to solve problems. And
What he's putting in there is not programming, it's not coding. It's literally like if you are a manager and you're writing a handbook for your employee, right? This is how we research and we find a house. This is how we, you can even put this up to your calendar and actually just put a meeting. So like next Saturday, you're going to take Erin Rogers to see these two houses. If she agrees, right? Like there's so many things that you can do, but the beauty and the power of this is that you're just writing it to like an employee. Do this, then do this, then do this. Watch out for that, right? Say he always goes to church on Sundays and he doesn't see any clients Sunday morning, right? And he's like, okay, tell her I'm happy to meet you at any time on Saturday and after 2 p.m. on Sundays. So again, you just write that into the prompt. You don't have to. There's no codes. There's no like. I've been doing this for 25 years. I went to CS school. I've been sitting in front of this laptop, staring at screens and doing all of these things that he's talking about for 20 years, and you don't need any of it. You just need to know how to tell another person the directions on it. That's it.
So, question. Yeah. Are there courses that help you with prompt engineering?
there's tons of free information. It is almost overwhelming right now. So
I would almost say that like AI moves very, very fast. So a lot of the things you hear about prompt engineering were from 2 or 3 years ago when we had, compared to the models of today, the models of 2 or 3 years ago were like, hey, they were dumb as rocks. You had to be very precise. You had to do all of these little tricks. These days, you tell it the goal. Like what he put in there was like, you are a helpful real estate agent, a real estate agent assistant. Your job is to send lovely, warm emails and to generate like, leads for, for our office. And then that's all you do is just tell them, thanks so much. You just say what you want to come out of this, and you tell it the things you want to avoid. And that's it. Like you don't really need to do much beyond that. If you do that 10, 20, 30 times, and it's always, it's always booking 3 people on Saturday, and it will say like, okay, then you might feel like you might add another field that says like, make sure that I only book no more than 2 people on Saturday. You just add that to the prompt. You don't need to go further than that. Like, I think people overdo the feeling of like, I have to get good at prompt engineering.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a prompt engineer. I use AI to tell me prompts that I can feed into AI.
Yes.
And that is the best tool to use.
Yes,
for it.
yes,
You don't need to go for a prompt engineering course, in my opinion. It's already smart enough to do that.
You said that's exactly what I do. I use Spotlight to check mine and then write one.
Yep. All right. Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm in school, and so I know most students will use AI. So and I know there's what they call humanizing it. So so what I do is I'm just asking, is this still okay? Like I use what's the Microsoft one? I use Gemini and I also use the Microsoft Copilot. And so you want to talk about paper, I'll do that, and then I go to humanize it. To humanize it. I have two types of humanize. There's firstly,
Okay.
and then there's Quillbot. So Quillbot will give you like more. So sometimes I'll look at it, if I don't like it, I'll look at it. That's no need to. So my question is this: do I still need to go through the humanizing or just do my Gemini and go?
Yeah, I mean, so my opinion, I think the way we learn is going to also change very radically.
Yes.
Like we've been institutionalized to think a certain way that you have to go to a 4-year school.
Yeah.
You got to get your master's and you got to get your PhD.
Mhm.
We now have access to PhD level people
Yeah.
on my phone, right? That I can ask a question at any time. So knowledge was scarce and it's not as scarce anymore. So I think the process of learning will also change.
Okay.
I don't know if my son's here in the first row.
Okay.
I don't know what his experience will. I don't know if he'll go to college. I don't know if college will be around in 10 years, or if it'll completely radicalize and shift the way we learn information.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I was born in Kenya, and my father, when we came to America, he always said this. He's like, coming from Kenya, everything you need to be a millionaire is at the library. You just have to do the work of getting the library card and checking the machines. And now you don't even need to go to the library. It's in the palm of your hand. But I'm also glad that I grew up before LLMs because one of the challenges is that it can accelerate your learning, but at the same time, the button to just write the essay is always right there.
Yeah, I know.
And it's you have to, again, it's up to you now. It's like the cookies. It's this if I'm trying to cut weight, then the food is right there. It's always one hand away, right? So you have to be. But if you have any question about anything, you can just jump in directly to the LLM.
yeah, my concern that I have is this going to make us dumber?
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not using a specific part of your brain to do the deep thinking. So, me personally, I'm in a habit every morning of doing journaling and writing and deep thinking work because I want to exercise that part of my brain. So I would just be cautious. I know I fall into this trap where I just have AI doing everything, but there's some things where I want to rely on my own human brain.
Yeah, I still do that. But my question is like, if you have to turn in a paper, like I'm trying to avoid using the AI word, because now you have the turning in where instructors will go through and make sure this is not this. And it will tell you that this is not the normal way.
I haven't been to school in a while, so yeah, that is. I don't know how these instructors.
Yeah. So it's
Okay,
definitely.
sorry. Maybe I can respond to her.
Yes.
The reason I'll respond to her is because when ChatGPT and all this came out was it late 2022?
Yeah.
At that time, I was teaching, and I visited college on an official assignment, and I was talking with this professor who was talking about it, and we were concerned. So the university where I was teaching here in North Carolina, we had a workshop, and the workshop was addressing this thing because students use AI to do assignments. Is it good or bad? It's bad. Coming to what he was saying, the concern of critical thinking is taken away from students. How do we mitigate against that? That was the goal the university was trying to achieve through this same concern you're expressing. The goal is use AI tools for prompts.
Okay.
You want to do an assignment. I had to do I had to give my student, after that training, I had to give them a training. We had to do assignments and I had to make them use AI to get prompts to carry out the assignment. I went on to the result of that. I actually submitted it to an AI journal and it was accepted for publication. So I'm speaking based on that because I did not just learn, I applied what I learned in classroom. And then I wrote the paper based on that, submitted to a journal that is dealing with these issues, and it was accepted for publication. So based on that, from that scholarly point of view.
Yes.
So what you need to do is look at prompts. Ask AI for prompts.
Okay.
Then you have an assignment, a paper you want to write. Can you give me prompts on how to go about it? The AI will give you suggestions. You will write them out, but you will do the research yourself.
Yes.
Put all those A, B, C, and all those things together to structure your paper.
Yeah.
In so doing, you will still be using your brain to think, looking at different angles to apply in your paper, and then you will be the one writing. But if you allow AI to write for you without your input,
I know, right?
you are killing your ability to critical thinking, which is very bad.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Okay, excuse me.
Yes.
I have a
Yes,
quick question.
please.
Okay. You said two things. You said one thing, you said one thing. Okay. You said in the next 10 years, you might not go to college. So what's the use of us depending on what is left about our future? Okay, like she said, they're still trying to humanize it, but in the future, it's not going to need to go to college.
Yeah.
So my question is, so how do we get a job now if we don't go to on the AI? Like, for example, I do my studies online like you do, and I go to the workforce and they're asking me for experience. So what do I present?
That is a challenge a lot of undergrad students are facing right now. Fortunately, like the number of undergrad students that are unemployed is unwritten because they're going to employers and they're asking them for work experience. Yes. So, and again, my comments is my prediction, my opinion. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to shift the way we learn, the way we teach students, right? So I don't know what the future workforce, I don't think anyone knows what it's going to look like. One thing I do know is this trend is here to stay.
Yes.
It's not going away, and we have to adapt to it. We got to figure out how it works because it's going to change everything. The way we work, the way we play, the way we learn. Yes, sir.
I think it's so sorry. I think it's
Either one, yeah.
I have a question. One of the companies I've gone is a medical staffing company,
Yes.
and we provide caregivers, CNA nurses to healthcare facilities across the US. And the challenge is trying to find a point in a haystack, because many of these facilities, they will say they don't need agency to help them start. They do themselves. Or maybe a few are struggling and they need agency to help them find those people.
Mhm.
So most times, hire people to make cold calls to hundreds of facilities, hopefully to find one or two that need your services. So listening to you today is like, can I get an AI agent to replace all this stuff and paying every hour to do a job that maybe an AI agent can do for me?
So I'll tell you one example. That is a very valid question, and it's a good thought process you're having as a business owner, right? I think there's also an ethical dilemma that you're faced with because it's like if I deploy this agent, I'm going to be making people lose jobs, right? So private equity firm. They were getting 20,000 phone calls a month for self-storage units. People were calling, I have an issue, there's a water leak in my unit, the gate's not opening, how do I make a payment? And these are all pretty much the same type of questions that people were asking, right? So they were like, if we just get an AI agent, similar thought process you're having right now. And so what we landed up doing is building a data layer and training this chatbot on the company SOPs, right? The standard operating procedures. So when a customer called in, the agent was answering 80% of all of the questions. And it's been in use for about 8 months now. And 80% of the phone calls have gone because this agent is working 24/7. This agent speaks every language in the world possible, doesn't call off. There's no human resource issues. So I think you're thinking about it the right way because you've got competitive companies in this world, right? You're dealing with competitors. What if your competitor employs this tool? They're going to have an advantage over you because you're carrying a heavy burden cost of labor, right? And they've got a two-man team that's handling all of these clients. So I do think it's giving you a strategic advantage as a business owner. So you're not wrong for having that thought.
About the question.
So is it ethical?
That is a
What? That was it.
that is a very good question. So as a business owner, I do think we have a responsibility to our employees, right? I would look to repurpose the people's skills on your team and focus them in other areas where human beings are good at, not the mundane work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis, right? So that's just my personal belief. There's a lot of corporations where human beings are looked at as numbers on a spreadsheet, right? And it's like, okay, we got to do a round of layoff and 10,000 people are gone. So I do think we have to do this responsibly because you can affect people's lives in major ways.
I want
Yeah.
And when this,
Yes, please.
the ethical questions are really critical. Also, the whole idea of labor and work has to factor into that. Look at automation. What is it used to do 100 times machines did? That's
Yes.
the way. So now we're AI doing exactly the same thing. So it's a question of the ethical space. How do you repurpose the new skills? The students who get AI to write their papers, if we're able to take out hallucination, then you don't really need that human oversight to check that what AI is doing is correct. No, with it.
Yes.
Maybe you don't need students to cram everything. I mean, open book exams.
Yes.
That's an evolution. At a point, you have to have everything in your head.
Yes.
That's not how you work. You go to your workspace, you have your referral books, and you do so. It's just a shift. It's a mind,
Yes.
a whole shift, and there's many questions out there. We should get to a place where students use AI and they do their work. They
Yeah.
don't start know.
Yeah. And again, going back to your point of making sure we're not losing the critical thinking skills, right? I do think there's a benefit for students having a disciplined structure where you're learning content, you're learning how to learn when you go to college, right? And if you don't have that mechanism, you might not know how to learn outside of college. You've never been to college. So I do think there's a huge advantage and plus.
But you're an expert on AI. That's a skill.
Yeah.
Just thinking.
I have one small antidote here. I have this intern that I know worked with at a previous company. He in school was don't use AI, don't use AI, don't use AI, don't use AI. Right? Like if we catch you, you're gonna be kicked out of the school. Then he gets into the workforce. Use AI, use AI, use AI, use AI, use AI as much as possible. And and he's a summer intern. So he's going from school that's telling him not to use AI to work where they're trying to use AI as much as possible, and then back to school where he's trying not to use AI. All of these things that it's all evolved. Back in the steam age, right? Before in the Industrial Revolution, before the factories, in England, there were women who worked at home and they did lace. And they might do like one dress in like a week, right? but it was a good job, and there was thousands and thousands of women that did this across the countryside. Then they figured out a machines to do it in a factory with a weaving machine. And so now all of these women that used to work from home moved to the factory. And then they worked in this factory. And then 50 years after that, the machine got so good that it was automated. It was just making the lace and right. And all of these women were kind of laid off. Now, for those women, it was bad. But for everyone else, everyone got more textiles. Everyone had, back before then, if you had more than one shirt, you were rich. Now everyone has t-shirts. Everyone has a pair of pants. Everyone has 10 pairs of pants in their closet because it's all made by a machine. So even as we there's a creative destruction element to it, is like some jobs are destroyed, but then other jobs are created. So there's less people working today in factories at the mill or weaving lace by hand. And most of our work today is intellectual. It's no longer with our hand and the toil of our back, you know what I mean? And so hopefully in the future, there's going to be what he might do, right? Is might create, emotional great experiences for people. And then all of the other stuff is automated by AI, right? So all of the needless toil, all of the now to this person, let's create a spreadsheet, let's make a slide deck, let's go do all of that stuff. And his job might just be the creative, emotional, human element.
So I did want to just talk about a few examples of agents you could potentially look at building in your work and in your jobs. Email triage. I think everyone's bombarded with emails. So I know a lot of people that are using agents to basically scan their email boxes and just surface for them daily what's important they should focus on. I have a consultant on my team and lives out of Claude Code Terminal, and every day he gets a report on what he should focus on. It's scanning everything, looking at action items, invoices he needs to pay, meetings, deadlines. So that's, if you're in that role where you've got lots of things coming at you and you can't manage it, agent can help you with figuring out priorities. It does it very well. Social media postings, support chatbots, meeting notes, bookings, job alerts. So we actually built a tool. I can show you guys real quick. How are we on time, Victor? What time do we go till? I can talk about this all day. So
It's supposed to take like 2 hours.
all right, so we got about 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it's up to them.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Sounds good. So this is let me show you guys this. Okay, so this is not really an agent, but I've got an agent behind the scene. What you're seeing on my screen is a CRM. These are jobs that some of my key clients have contracted my company to help them with. So we help them with IT projects and stuff. So part of our role was going to their job website and figuring out all the roles they have, what can we help them? And it was very manual. So we have a code that goes and scrapes these companies' websites and puts it into this CRM for us every Friday. It does this. So this was a human being that used to go and look at all these company websites, typically an account manager or a salesperson doing that function. And then it's emailing us matches. So let me actually job. So I get this email every Friday. 35, there's 8 new jobs for these clients that have contracted us. And I said, great. Then it takes it a step further and it does a match of consultants that we have in our consultant pool to those jobs. And it generates crafted email about why that consultant's a fit and gives us a description with the resume and sends it to the account manager. Account manager uses that as a business dev tool to email that off to the client. That's hours of nonsense work that they were doing every week. So when I looked at the amount of time they were spending, I'm like, why don't we automate that? So I'm trying to find a sample of what match looks like. Second. There you go. So this was a person that's a consultant, and they were looking for like Zendesk, CRM stuff. So this is AI basically did the match and gave us the sum, right? So that's another example of how you can leverage these tools to take away some of the busy work that you're doing. I guess I can show you one more. So onboarding, my company deals with onboarding consultants. So our office manager, got a picture here of my office manager. This is my office manager. She's juggling a lot of stuff all the time. And then she's got me asking her questions all the time on top of it. So we looked at our onboarding process because it was taking her about 8 hours to onboard a person into the company. So when you start a new company, you know, all those paperwork you got to do, like the W-9 forms, the agreements, your healthcare forms, and all that stuff. So we built an agent that takes that information from a form. And I won't go through the whole process, but I'll show you guys conceptually how that works. The salesperson fills out this form. We have a make.com automation that runs, and it basically creates these. This is all best information, so I'm not showing anything. Right? But all of these documents that are needed for employment are automatically created by the agent. So these are, you think about real estate, right? You've got mountains of paperwork that's happening in every real estate transaction. Why are we doing that up manually? Why are we filling that stuff out? And we're filling the same information out in multiple forms. We were doing the same thing. We're copying and pasting this person's name into 20, 30 different forms. So we have this agent that's gone out to do it. And I'll show you what the actual workflow looks like in make.com. All right, this looks a little scary, but basically, what's happening here is an entry point. You'll hear a term called web. Again, not going to get too much into technology, but basically, it's AI listening for an activity to happen, right? So the moment we get a new person onboarded, this AI agent is catching it. Said, okay, I got the task. What do I need to do next? It's making a decision. This is the decision path here. If the person's a 1099 consultant or if they're a W-2 employee. If you're a W-2, you go down here. There's a lot more documents we have to create for a W-2 employee. So all of these boxes represent a document that someone is manually filling out. So we're filling out the form once and creating everything. And it drops us into this folder. So the human in the loop is the office manager. We have the office manager going and verifying that everything is correct before we send it up. But it's doing 80% of the work. Why would we not want someone to do 80% of our work? Copying and pasting. It's a waste of people's time. Then we took it a step further and we used PandaDocs. So for signing the documents, we've got a workflow in there that sends the candidate a PandaDoc link. So this is all AI generated documents. The candidate gets that after the office manager reviews it. They sign the documents. So we took a very complicated process that was 8 hours of work down to 30 minutes. So it's huge savings. So I would encourage you guys to think about your workflow, right? What is the task that you're doing on a daily basis that's eating up a lot of your time, where you can have these agents helping to eliminate some of it. And then I think you wanted to talk about AI avatars, right? Okay, so has anyone used AI avatar tools? Okay, all right. So I've messed with it. I've tried to clone myself. It is very creepy. Like the lips don't sync 100%. So I wanted to use it for content because I've got all these ideas that I want to tell people about. And I'm like, I don't have time to actually make a video of myself to like sit there and put it on YouTube and all this channels. So I started messing around with a tool called HeyGen. And I'll show you guys real quick what that looks like. HeyGen is basically, there's others like it. There's one called 11 Labs, but it's AI generated videos. So you could take a 2-minute video of yourself. You stand in front of your camera, your cell phone, and you just talk to it. And it's recording your facial expressions. And then you've got an AI avatar now that you created for yourself.
What's it called?
HeyGen. HeyGen. I've got it on the slides as well that I'll send out. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. So for this one, I did it this morning. I don't know if I'm connected to sound, but you should be able to play it there.
So many people moving to Cary, North Carolina. Honestly, it's easy to see why. You've got top-rated schools, one of the
let's
state's
know, I
state,
think.
incredible food, greenways, parks, and you're right in the middle of the triangle. Within 20 minutes, you can be in Raleigh, Durham, RTP, or at some of the fastest-growing companies in the country. And the homes here. From luxury builds to family-friendly neighborhoods, Cary has options for almost every stage of life. If you've been thinking about relocating to North Carolina, send me a message and I'll help you figure out the best area for your lifestyle and budget. DM me Cary for a free relocation guide.
Sorry, Victor. I know that's not you. And the other time. Next one will record you. So what I did this morning, going back to someone's question earlier, was how do we do prompt engineering? So I went into ChatGPT and I said, give me a prompt that I can use for a video editing tool that can create a person talking about my real estate company that is located in Cary, North Carolina. I want you to take a look at my website. I gave it Victor's website link, and give me a script for 5 videos that I can push out on social media channels, and then give me a strategy for posting them and how to automate. Right. So that first video was this first prompt here, video number 1. So I copied this prompt, I put it into HeyGen, and it generated. Right. So again, you can see I'm not a fan of this. Like I did one for myself and the looks are out of sync, and I'm like, I don't want that. That's like not an authentic connection for people. So I'm not using it personally, but if you're just showing videos of an area and you don't have a person talking, you could leverage something like this where you're just feeding it a prompt and it'll make a video for you.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, it wouldn't even look like a person. 2 years ago, there was a very famous video of Will Smith trying to fix it again, and his hand becomes the fork and the spaghetti is like it doesn't even look like spaghetti. Like in the middle of it turns into other things. Right? Last year, it was perfect. Will Smith eating spaghetti. This year, there all of these AI companies that are doing video, they compete with the same prompt, and now it's like it looks like a movie where Will Smith is fighting a spaghetti monster, like an action movie. But the point here is that like these things that you're seeing where it's not quite there in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year time, these things will be done. And he could put this script and it can do it in Punjabi, it can do it in Spanish, right? Like it can do it in all the different Chinese, right? Like Mandarin. Now, you're going to get Mandarin clients who are going to try to see you in Chinese. But again, you can see how if the demand is there, you can always like find a real estate agent, or you can get a lead to someone else who might pay you, a few $1,000s to give them a warm lead. And once you're grabbing people, and then you're handing them off, and it's still making you money. And so it's like these tools are very powerful, and especially on social media, even the attention, right? Just having a video is good enough. Some people will be like, "Oh, I didn't know that about Cary." They'll ignore the fact that the lips aren't syncing. Like we're because it's yourself, you're very critical because you're like, "Oh, it feels a little creepy because it's me." But most people, they don't care. They're going to think about all of the things about Cary. It's like, "Oh, I didn't know there's it's close to RTP. I heard Durham. I didn't know it was close to Cary. So if someone's moving, that might grab their attention enough to give you a call versus your competitor.
So there's there's a few scripts that gave, right? The video number 2 was things to know before you buy a home in Raleigh, Cary. Dream home tour. I think you did a dream home tour on YouTube, right? So I don't know if I found that about you from the research that we did, cost of living in North Carolina, and then it gave a strategy, like where you can post, how often you should post. And this stuff can be fully automated. So you don't have to, you can give it one goal for the week, and basically it becomes an automated thing, and you can even have it do your postings for you. So there's software out there that does all your posting business. Anyway, I just wanted to show that as another example.
Yes, possible for you to show us how to apply this to our different businesses.
Yeah, and what
So
then?
how long is it going to take, like, to create a video?
About
Yeah.
3 to 5 minutes.
Right.
That's only good.
Yeah, we could.
Thank you.
If someone wants to give me an example of a video they want to create, we'll create a new one here.
I have one about cybersecurity consultants that needs generate leads to new clients. For actually conducting a cybersecurity assessment of the current business director on implementing AI guardrails.
All right, so I'm gonna take this and put it into the same chat that I have open.
So what platform are you using?
Hey, Jen, this is ChatGPT that I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm getting a prompt from ChatGPT. I'm putting it into Hey, Jen.
Yes. The principle here is that he's giving ChatGPT a goal of like something very simple. And then ChatGPT is going to make a long, detailed prompt of how agent, like all of the script, you say this, say that, like, and then he's going to take that back to agent, and then the agent is going to be the one that actually makes the video, which has the person saying all, see, and then again, this is just seconds. It's not much work. There's no computer science. There's no like, this is my goal. And then your ChatGPT gives you the actual prompt. You copy that prompt into whatever tool you're in.
But we're gonna let that cook for a little bit, and we'll come back to it. So it's thinking, it's doing its thing. Your avatar's name is Ethan, and I think you can change it to different avatars as well. So if you have your own avatar, so you see I did some test recording of myself, I could add that in there. Got some other public avatars you can pick from. You have a preference? Who you want to be an avatar? Okay. All right, we'll let that cook and we'll come back to it.
Agent website is agent.com, right?
Agent.com. Yep. All right, so what else do we have here? All right, so the last segment is making money, right? So I know this is an investment group. So the way I look at this revolution that we're in right now, I think there's four buckets, right? If you are in a knowledge work profession, which I think a lot of people here are, reskilling, right? So look at, not saying go and change your job tomorrow. I'm saying look at skills that you can gain using these tools in your knowledge work job. There's some people in there that are probably looking for side hustles, right? So you could create a business using creating content and selling materials online. I would also say there's a third group of people that are looking for investments, right? Where can I park my money that's related to this AI revolution that's happening right now? I have some thoughts that I'll share with you guys. And then people are building what we're calling AI wrapper companies right now. So they're leveraging things like these AI avatars to basically go and sell courses and materials out there. So if you have a specific subject matter domain expertise, you can use AI avatars to be your course instructors, and you can sell course subscriptions and stuff like that. So there's a whole industry of new jobs that will be created because of this technology. Yes, sir.
Do you know anywhere, where would be like a good place to get like free courses on learning AI?
Yeah, there's actually a ton. I use OneNote for all my notes. I've got probably hundreds of sites that have information. So there's no shortage of information that's out there. I will share those resources with you guys as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you just want to get curious on specific topics and just start experimenting. That's kind of what I did. Right.
Okay.
So that was a good segue. Learning AI is free right now. So tonight you can get ChatGPT, the free version, play around with it. It's Google AI. Deep Learning is another good website that a lot of folks have gone to. There's stuff like Coursera, and those are all free. Then there's paid products, right? So if you want to school, Udemy, have a bunch of stuff. Make.com, the workflow automation tool I shared with you. They have a free version, but if you want to use some of the AI tools, you can get the paid version, but they have a whole library of resources as well. And then there's industries that have like certifications, like Google right now, we get AI certifications. IBM has certifications that are out there. AWS, which is Amazon's cloud storage, they have certifications. So those would be, if you want to pay for something, I'd go with the bigger name brands for certifications. So just looking at how do you position yourself in your portfolio, right? So I think if I look at the buckets, if you are a investor in the stock market, obviously you're watching what's happening with the semiconductor stocks, right? They're going through the roof. I mean, AMD, like 98% returns year to date. It's crazy. So I've strategically told my financial advisor, like there's some things I don't want to invest in right now because of AI. So again, this is not financial advice at all, not a financial advisor, but software companies, I think, are in a lot of trouble right now. Adobe is down big time. So I don't want anything to do with software companies in my portfolio because I see the power of what these AI tools are doing. A general user can go and build software. So how do they pivot and adapt? Do I think they'll be alive? Probably. Adobe's a big company. They'll figure out a way of how to pivot, but I'm not investing in those right now. So a big chunk of my portfolio is looking at where this market is going. So in real estate, I think there's a few big trends you guys have probably heard of. Data centers, right? They're building all of these massive data centers across the country right now, across the world. So how do you align some of your investment strategy with that, right? There's also a massive amount of energy that's being consumed. All the stuff that we showed you today, we're creating data. AI is creating data output. That data has to be stored somewhere. So we're like the output of the number of data from the past 10 years ago. We don't have the ability to keep up with the energy consumption. So we're going to have all of these nuclear power plants and micro power plants that will be created. So keep your eye out on those changes that are happening, like HVAC companies, that are in there doing like the HVAC stuff. And that industry might just boom, right? So I think just pay attention to kind of what the change is happening, right? In your local area. I know Apex had some data center. I know everyone was upset about that coming to the Apex area, and I'm mixed reviews on that. But real estate plays around that, they're going to be employing a lot of people to work at these places as well around the country. So real estate investors, I think you want to pay attention to where these things are being created and maybe target some of your portfolios around it. Sorry, Manuel.
Yeah. If you want to actually switch careers, HVAC, plumbers, like industrial level HVAC and plumbers, because they need they can't hire enough of these people. If you work in the energy sector, right? Hooking up energy grids, working in energy power plants, we literally need to make like 2 or 3 times the amount of electricity we have today in the next 10 years, because the demand for AI is going to be so high. The idea is that all of us are going to have our own agents. All of us are going to have like 10 agents. And my agent is going to talk to your agent even before we have a conversation. So all of that is going to be power. All that's going to be electricity. All of that is going to be in the cloud. People are spending not billions, trillions of dollars to build this stuff out. It's holding up the U.S. economy right now because we're spending so much. So there's a huge amount of money to be made just even connecting, doing like that gentleman what he does for nurses.
Yeah.
If you did that with plumbers and HVAC technicians and convincing them to move to where a data center is going to be built, the people building that data center will have to be paying money.
Right.
And if you can find, make that business contact, and it's largely kind of the same thing. You have, specialized people, certification, and getting them to go to where they need to be. That's also like there's like business like opportunities.
Right, I'm gonna go check on our AI cybersecurity video. See how we're doing there. Hopefully it accepts something. Right.
In today's landscape, AI isn't just a tool, it's the new frontier of cybersecurity strategy for every executive. As we integrate intelligent systems, the complexity of our digital perimeter grows exponentially. The shift from reactive defense to proactive, AI-driven strategy is no longer optional. It's a competitive necessity. It requires a unified vision that balances rapid innovation with rigorous security protocols. True leadership means building trust through transparency and robust compliance frameworks. When your strategy aligns tech and talent, you move from managing risk to driving enterprise value. The future of your organization depends on how you bridge the gap between AI potential and digital safety today. Invest in a strategy that is as resilient as it is revolutionary. Let's redefine what it means to lead in an AI-first world. The strategy starts at the top. Secure your future. Lead with intelligence.
How to do? All right. So you got some homework today. Awesome. All right. Let me see what else we got, guys. So I did say we had a couple of takeaways. Yeah. So 7-day plan. Sign up for some of these free tools. Use it for 30 minutes a day. Watch a YouTube video. Learn a new skill. Build something. Show it to someone. Pick a vertical that you want to invest in, right? Whether it's the stock market, whether it's your career that you want to reposition yourself, and share with others. I believe that's the best way to learn is to share what you've learned with others. So you reinforce that learning and you help others. And the last thing I'd say, figure out where you want to go. Is this clear for you, that direction? And hopefully we're able to demystify some of these concepts for you guys today. So bookmark these tools as well. These are some of the common ones. We looked at Agent, we looked at ChatGPT. By the way, this entire slide presentation was made in thought. I did not make any of these slides. This entire presentation that I gave today was made in thought. Yeah. So I gave it a prompt of what I wanted to talk about, and it created this entire thing.
Wow.
I think that's all we got. Questions? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's see. What is that? Yes.
I think I need to sit down with you to share everything I'm doing right now.
Absolutely.
It's you so that I can see how to, because I'm doing most of them the old fashioned way.
Yes. Give you my business card. Love to.
I'm not doing myself. Time.
Yeah. And a concept I'm also, because I've had several people that want to learn. I've talked with Emmanuel about this, so I'll put it on the screen, but we're looking at creating this practitioners institute. We don't know what it means yet. So I run a meetup group here in Raleigh. I started about 2 years ago. We've got 900 people at the group. And there's a hunger for people trying to figure out what's next. And everyone's asking, can we make this like digital? We want to watch it online. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So we'll be talking about figuring out how to launch this thing. So that can be something as well for people that want to learn more and get involved in this. My wife doesn't like it because I'm doing great things.
One more question.
Yes.
You know, everything you say is scary. Because it gives us a new world that we don't understand and it's coming, and there's no stopping it. And because if you spend 4 years in college doing a perfect, going to be something that AI will replace, like you wasted all that 100,000 you spent school, because so I think people should focus on what can I do that AI cannot replace. Even doctors now are scared because all those diagnoses AI can easily bring in a second.
Yes.
So doctors, even their income is not good right now. Because hospitals can reduce their staff from 20 to just 3 AI skills. So everybody has no same area right there, except you know how to be well positioned.
Yes.
Now, the bigger scary part beyond this AI is robotics.
Yeah.
Because someone like Elon Musk has vowed to build maybe 10 million robots every year.
Right.
And he started right there. It's not like he's going to get started. So that if this guy didn't tell me no robots every year, what would they be doing?
Yeah.
All these robots, what would they be doing? Are they going to replace everybody else? Because so the question is, what's the future of human beings?
I love that. I love that. I wish I had an answer for you. So I have some comments though. I have some comments because I do see the fear factor that is being aggressively pushed by the media today, right? People buy and subscribe to news channels for negativity. It's a adrenaline rush to listen to negativity. They're not talking about the positive use cases that come out of this, right? So I'll give you a positive. 2 weeks ago, I was in Ohio for an event called Ohio Children's Alliance. And they have 400 physicians in Ohio, mental health, behavioral health, foster care agencies. And we met with a social worker at Christian Children's Home of Ohio, and we understood her workflow of what she does every day. And this lady is probably getting paid 30, 40,000 a year. And she has one of the most important jobs, which is intake from kids that are being taken away from their parents, getting them placed into cottages. That she's managing all of that in the mailbox. And you have to respond to the state 2 hours or the child doesn't get placed. The state takes them and they put them in state housing. It's not a good place to children. So we help them build an AI agent that listens to her mailbox.
Wow.
And it routes that child's profile to the different cottages so that the psychologist, the manager in those facilities can approve that child based on behavior if they take them. So nobody in the news is talking about the positive use cases, right? Where we're helping a percentage of a population. It's a really bad problem in America. But the news is highlighting all of the negatives, right? And they will continue to. So I think our job is to know, I'm a Christian, right? So I don't subscribe to a lot of the anxiety that's being pushed out there. I think what's going to happen, God knows everything from beginning to the end, right? And by me worrying about it doesn't change anything. So I have to figure out how I position myself and my family and the people around me to make sure that we're not caught off guard.
I think we are going toward a world where people become very lazy. It's because even right now, my mind, look, I use ChatGPT for like basic but you see, it's like a world where people be pretty much like you have robots doing your dishes, you have robots driving you to work, you have robots thinking for the like, what am I going to be doing in my life?
So the counter question right now, right? In American society, everyone is busy all of the time, right? You're juggling your family, your jobs, your work. What if you get more time back in your day to spend time on the important things versus the busy things?
I'll say one thing. In this room, most, if not all of us, are immigrants. We took that scary step to come to America. You know, that's not easy. That's not it's easy to stay home for my family. We were from Kenya, right? We thought America was gonna be the land. Streets were gonna be paved with gold and it's gonna be so easy to become a millionaire, you know? And then you come here and you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, but like we made a way. And it took some time and we started, you know, from the bottom. And then, but now we have jobs, we have careers, we have education, we have homes, right? So that same determination is still there, right? You know, it's still in our family, still in our blood. And so it's just a different kind of challenge. We have to find a way and we figure out how we can do it together. And, you know, as Africans, we have a community. We have the ability to work together to see a brother and say like, oh, I'm going to help you. I'm going to support you. And, you know, look for opportunities to use this for good in your life. Right. And start with what you know. Don't go off and like, I'm going to go make an app. Right.
Right.
If you work at a hospital, right, there's someone that takes away. I don't know anything about medicine, but I'm imagining after surgery, and someone removes a spleen or something, right? Who takes that spleen? What do they do with it? How do they get rid of it? That's probably a business, right? Who put up all of these chairs in this, right? Who makes these chairs? How does this business like connect to the people who have all of these suppliers, right? Find the things that are next to you and let the AI automation help you to move faster, to go do research quicker, to go a little bit deeper, to find all these different connections to things that you already know, rather than like, you know, it's easy to be very scared.
Can I just say, the step first is justify AI, which is what's this about. I'm probably going to age in the next things. Remember, there was a time there was no internet. Yeah, my walks around me there, live that life. Imagine a life, that life and this life. So it's looking at the opportunities. We learn this now, take the first steps into what is AI, and then get creating the next steps. How can I incorporate that into my work? Because this train is moving. So you can get on it, or you can let's say, imagine if you're going, I mean, you got stuck the life of no internet. Right?
It's good. So I know we're like way over now. I'm sorry, Victor.
No, it's
but
all right.
we had like a lot of good
It's
questions. Yes,
Um,
please.
Dr. Nwosu was to talk, and he wasn't giving the. Please let him say what he wanted.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, so anyway, a lot of things have been said about the future of the human species because of technology and all that. How school will be 10 years from now. These are fears, creating fears. Nature has a way of replacing gaps. If AI, robotics, or whatever becomes big, there are always gaps. Now, I want us to look at that when it comes to education. Education is just like a structure. Big money, colleges, universities, research, and all that. You can, if AI or whatever comes to kill that, they will kill AI. Because this university, I'm telling you, that's true. It's big money. It's money. I used to work for IBM in the 90s. Before 1990, I don't know how many of us worked this. This is 1999. There was a huge thing about year 2000.
Yes,
My goodness, look at and I used to be, and I was coming up, I studied chemical engineering. I was told that energy will be huge. I went and said, oh, what do I want to be? I looked at chemical engineering. I wanted to design refineries and all that. I haven't designed any. You know, I got some gas a few days ago. Refineries, you know, yeah, I came when I came to I remember when I was at NC State doing my masters here. These huge things about what's going to robotics, instrumentation, and all that, people are going to, you know, lose their jobs. So, but all I'm saying is that these things are not good. What is controlling this thing is money.
Yes.
And the people who are controlling this money will hear anything that is not
Yeah.
you know,
Good point.
now, where I work, people are almost talking, but they are fear because of the various changes. When I tell them this things, it's not gonna happen. Because the system is kind of stabilized.
Yeah.
Good robotics, if you want to go and be flying cars, how many people would afford it? So what I'm saying, what I want to say is that no fears about this. There will be advances in knowledge and everything. So I can get my something like an umbrella. Now that thing will fly me to another. So they don't be afraid. We will just be existing. You know, whatever whether it's economics or technology, those things will go as now.
Yeah.
No universities will be closed. People will be getting their PhDs, you know, PhDs in nothingness or whatever. All this thing is limited in such a way that you come out and they say, okay, this guy handled this, blah, 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 blah. At IBM those days, PhDs, there were researches we were doing. The guys came there. Did they listen to him? He said, okay, look at this. He was said, no. He was told, no, I mean, we don't want that. We are doing our own research on these things. But he went and said, can I live with what I have? Yes, sir, we do, sir. This guy didn't even finish it. Yeah, we can go with it. He developed his graphic user's interface. IBM came and said, okay, you told me either 5 cents or whatever for each computer. That's how he came here, multi-millionaire. So what I'm saying in essence is, humans are not going to lose.
Yes.
The system is solid.
That's right.
Since the times of Socrates and
That's
when they had their two small universities in Egypt and others. It is established. System has a way of making sure we survive.
That's right.
Can't AI robotic replace lecturers?
Let me respond to that. I wasn't going to add more, but let me say this. I was talking with the students, the white student on campus at Wake, and he was like, he would make AI do these things that he doesn't need to go to coding classes and all those lectures. And I'm like, you're wrong. And I'll tell you what, you need an input to get an output. If you want to write a code or you want to even make the code or whatever system to do something for you, you must give it an input. So you even if there are curriculums, how will people know what to study without an expert in that field? I can tell you it will not work. And that's what Doctor was just saying. If you will study now, there's another aspect that has to do with business, that has to do with these agents, which is called Salesforce. You understand? Salesforce is a full integration into business. That's another discipline. Now, what I'm just saying is this. Knowledge has been diversified. And we need all these little components. So there are people who are, so if you wake up and feel that, okay, I have this small set of knowledge, and because I have this, I'm master of all, you and that, it won't work. Because you will be ignorant of the many subsets, even in that very field. Why do people have to specialize in just one area or a particular something? Even in terms of all these algorithms that do deep learning and all that. There are people who are experts in using Python. Others have to do Java. Some who know Java don't know Python. And So you find people now trying to go between all these. So you need expertise in one area as much as the other. But if you are only good at maybe Python and you don't know Java, when you meet someone who knows Java, you have for him too, because he knows something you don't know. So we need one another to make the society continue to thrive.
Yeah, and going back to your question, I know you asked it for thesis name, but you asked if it's a replacement for a lecture, right? I don't see AI being a replacement. I see it as a companion. Just like the internet didn't replace human beings, right? We didn't make
But you when they add robotics to the beats. Because for example, everything you've done today now, the robot will have done it. Hey, go to a university
I decided.
that had a robot in the lecture. I'm saying it because we are doing all this now. We're getting used to all these things that we didn't get used to before. So everything our teacher has taught us today, let's say he wants to replicate this class in 5 other states. What he has taught us today. You know, sometimes you can see that and you know what he has done. And AI will take everything he has done, an avatar, and put a robot there to do the same thing in 5 other states. Answer that question. You don't
I disagree because does AI have emotions?
But again, people aren't buying
Can AI connect?
of a lecture because there's already shows of
No.
people coming to the university to be able to ask, ask Richard
Yeah.
or Ricardo, like, let me. The fact that you can ask him a question, you can ask me a question. That's why you pay to go to the university. You don't just do it because it's they had fax machines, they had copiers. Why don't they just copy all of the lecture notes and then hand it to you as a packet, and then you do it the homework yourself? Like, why do I go to the university? It's because
Sorry, I wanted to ask, can AI connect, like what he's saying about like AI replicating you, for example, can AI connect with people? Does AI have emotions?
No.
Because
Zero.
the reason I'm saying that is I've realized that if 2 different people type the same question into ChatGPT, for example, it gives the same answer. If they type it the same way. So, for example, yesterday someone asked me, can someone that doesn't have residency, can someone get life insurance with ITIN? And I put it in ChatGPT. I saw the response, but I asked a colleague, and then he sent his response, which was the same thing that I already saw on ChatGPT. And as soon as I saw his response, I laughed. I said, "This is from ChatGPT." Because he doesn't know that I already put it in ChatGPT, So I feel like if AI were to be there, one teaching, he'll probably be giving us like answers
So
that we may not be able to.
that's a very good point. So let's go back to what is AI, right? It's math.
Artificial intelligence.
It's a probability machine. It's artificial intelligence, right? So we have to remember that this is not a replacement. It's a supplement.
We have a question.
Sorry, I know you had a question.
No, we have a question.
It's not a question, it's just a response to some of the comments.
Yeah.
A gentleman at the extreme asked or said something like, suppose AI is made to bring forth robots that will take over all of us, everything that we do. Sometimes our fears don't allow us to think through very well. The reason I'm in this class today, even though it's free, is because there is value. In other words, if you were to charge for this, and I can get value out of it, that's why I'm here. If AI takes over the whole world, right? Somebody's building it, right? That person is expecting somebody to consume it. If it doesn't get consumption, there's no value, all right? If AI takes over everyone's role here, robots don't eat, right? The man who is doing the AI has to have money to be able to continue to do the AI. Robot is not going to pay money. So if there's no money in it, just like doctor said, it will crumble. So what I say, aside from the fact that God is in control, I mean, when I sit down and I imagine myself, perhaps AI might destroy some jobs. Okay. And like you said, and many other people have said, just
For as long as AI is allowed to continue to rule, make sure that you are protected somehow so that you can earn money. But that AI will take over the world, will take over human beings, AI will crumble. It will just crumble because nobody will be able to consume it.
We live in a capitalistic
Exactly.
right?
I mean,
So
that's
I had this conversation with someone last week because all the tech oligarchs, right? The Microsofts, the Elon Musks, they've created all of these tools to make money, right? Let's be honest, right? It's AI creating more data. They have data centers. They sell storage. They make more money. So they're not gonna wipe out consumers because consumers are feeding the system and the engine in this country, right? So I think there is the fear factor. We're seeing the job reports, we're seeing the layoffs, and we're associating and attributing it to technology. I think there's more that's happening. This I think.
There is, and I'll respect, I said, to God be the glory for everything. See, I'm capitalistic, either fair, dark, but think about the Antichrist and everything, and everything. It's not really about edge here. It's about a threat actor of another country using AI to, like you see in China, they have big swarms. So on the battlefield, being ex-military, we've been doing this for almost 50 years, using AI, type of technology. But now you see Russia, everywhere around the world, AI's on the battlefield, have drones. What I'm trying to say is once you take human out of the loop, Carter said, you allow autonomous AI, agentic AI that has autonomy to make a decision, like companies throughout the name, Palantir that already does, identifying targets on the battlefield, Israel, different countries, China. Going back to that point, once that becomes common norm and taking it out of the battlefield, that's what I worry about. Not about the jobs or anything. It's about as a nation actor or in Christianity standpoint, some figure using it, manipulate and become trying to take the place of God. But I say all to say to God be the glory, he has everything. And the fears like this, as they say in China, same word for chaos, it's the same word for opportunity. So take AI, learn all you can about it. Learn, for me, I learned it so I can use it when it comes time to, if there is a deployment or military activation, being able to know how to deactivate things, protect my family, but always depend on God because it's a new technology. It's a lot of opportunities. Carter said it's a lot of money to be made. So I wouldn't be afraid of it. Just learn, take the time. Use it outline its credit course for you. And that's all it takes. Well,
I know we went way over our time.
Oh, no, you have
I
a
don't know.
question, the gentleman.
Oh, sorry. Yes, please. We'll take one more, and I want to be respectful to Victor's group. So, yeah.
What I want to say is, first, I don't think there will be any change.
Any what?
Change.
Okay.
This is why I said that when I did not discover that the mathematical algorithm that we're talking about started with that even in the 60s, 70s. Now, who got AI into? I believe that the universities we're talking about, they are still going through some researches to bring out more ideology, more evolution, things that we've not even experienced. Because going by this presentation, we started from the land clean, the capital, and all these things. So it's a process.
Yeah.
And the discovery will be made.
Yeah.
So I don't think universities will not be relevant.
No.
Because that is where the thoughts,
That's right.
the thinking, and the evolution of most of these things come from.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't get the universities. And besides, we as human beings, we have a lot in terms of thinking. If people don't sit down to think about how to put all this mathematical algorithm together for images, AI. Yeah. So we still need to think.
100%. And again, we're 2 to 3 years into this transition, right? So what if AI is able to cure cancer, right? Everyone in this room knows someone that's probably impacted by that disease. We haven't been able to solve that. Now we've got a super power brain that can work 24/7, doing research, doing all of these complex algorithms. What if it's able to solve that, right? We may find out in the next few years. I think it's a huge win for humanity. We do.